Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Outdoors with MSA with Anthony Jones and myself, Jonathan Abernathy. We have a very special guest today, Mr. Jim Ron Quest from Turkeys for Tomorrow. How you doing, Jim?
I'm good, buddy. Thank you. Appreciate y'all having me on.
Appreciate you coming on, Mr. Jim. Uh, if you'd like to just go ahead and just take the time to introduce who you are, what you do, and then let's start talking about TFT.
All right, man. Well, I wear, I guess, many hats. Of course, you mentioned my name. I am a co-chair of Turkeys for Tomorrow, a little organization that started really about a year ago. Um, my other job is also in the outdoor industry. I like to say my vocation is waterfowl. My avocation is turkeys. I currently work for part of Rich and Tone Calls in Stuttgart, Arkansas. We build custom duck and goose calls. Um, but I also love the turkey hunt. So that's kind of my thing. Ducks and turkeys is what keeps me going.
That's awesome. I never been duck hunting, don't have a clue about it. So maybe we need to get you on a podcast to talk about duck calls. So
Man, be happy to, partner. Be happy to.
awesome. So when was Turkeys for Tomorrow founded, and what was the basis
So
behind founding
yeah,
it?
that's it's kind of a cool story, and I'm gonna tell the whole story, whether you want to hear it or not, because it's cool. It's a cool story to mention. So, um, Turkeys for Tomorrow started with a after turkey season get together in Alabama, um, with my buddy Ron Jolly, who's also the co-chair of TFT, and it was spring of June of 2019. Um, we all got together after turkey season, kind of get together and talk about old times. And we all used to work together in the turkey world, either video camera operators, outdoor riders, people that spent good time in the woods, and just get a bunch of folks together who hadn't hung out in some time. So we all got together and ate fish and had a big time. But one of the things about it that Jolly brought up is he wanted to have a round table discussion. We knew that we all still turkey hunt a lot, and seen where there was declining populations of turkeys in all parts of the country, from the Midwest to the Southeast. And we kind of talked to everybody, and gosh, there's I don't know how many years of turkey hunting experience was in that room, but people that were pretty salty turkey hunters,
Yeah.
and everybody kind of went through and brought up a question. And what about this? What about that? Is it weather? Is it fire ants? Is it hogs? What is it? And we all kept talking, and we realized that we don't have to start to get answers. And to get the right answers, we got to ask the right questions. So that all kind of led to a group discussion. Well, should we start a Facebook or Instagram page? And then that led to something. Well, let's organize it a little bit more. And then that turned into late that summer. We were sitting in Mississippi with a good friend of ours, an attorney, talking about becoming a 501c3 organization. Well, that carried on through the winter of 19 into the late winter, spring of 2020. That carried through, and then I guess I got my years right. No, we started in 2020. My bad, not 19. And then by spring of 2021, about a year ago, we got our 501c3. Is that a certificate?
Yeah.
They checked the box that we were an official nonprofit conservation organization, and from there it's grown into what it is now. We've got three projects on the ground in Alabama. We're talking about getting a project started here in Arkansas, and a lot of people are interested. We're also become a membership organization to where folks can join up and you can get a newsletter and just become a part and see how it grows. So it's a lot of good things going on.
Awesome. You said you were working in 3 sites in Alabama. Are they public land or private land or a mixture of
Well,
both?
no, that's good stuff. So I'm pulling it up so I can make sure y'all bear with me. If I look away, I'm just making sure
That's fine.
I get all the right information. So the project that we are a part of is being run by Dr. Will Goolsby at the University of Auburn, in Auburn, Alabama. And there's projects going on both public and private. So one of the things that's happening is we're doing a song meter study. So, there's been gobbling chronology test done for a long time, but it's typically we all go pick a ridge and we sit and listen and we write down how many gobbles we hear every day from a certain time frame. Well, that's, the human nature there. We're going to miss some. We're going to be sidetracked, or I'll be thinking, man, if I was over there, I could come this way and go hunting. We've put out a bunch of song meters on both private and public so that they can go back in computer software and hear gobbling as it starts from now through the different peaks, and we can kind of figure out how turkeys react either pressure on both public or private, or if there is a gobbling peak that maybe it's later in the year, because most hunters, we go turkey hunting, hear a turkey gobble. So that all kind of leads into some ideas. I've seen y'all had Dr. Chamberlain on here in the past. Maybe we're shooting too many dominant turkeys too early. So maybe we can start the season later. Some more hens can get bred before we start hunting. But that's part of the song meter study, trying to learn more about that. One of the other things is we're going to put 30 transmitters on hens, GPS transmitters, to see where they go during the breeding season. So it's one of the issues with turkey recruitment. Is it habitat related? Is it weather related? What's going on? So by putting transmitters on 30 hen turkeys, we're going to get an idea on where they go during the breeding season, when they start to nest, when they start nesting, and what happens as the spring goes on, and we'll get really good insight into what they're doing. And the other part of the study is going to be a sperm count, kind of back to the gobbling thing. So there's some chatter out there that maybe if we shoot a dominant turkey, it takes that lieutenant longer than we thought to take over, to be able to effectively breed. So to back up there, we've always thought for years, and y'all are turkey hunters, think if you shoot a dominant longbeard, we've kind of always thought, well, if he comes up there with 3 lieutenants, one of them lieutenants, they'll have a fight and they'll take over the pecking order and be able to breed. And of course, how many times have we seen a Jake top the hen decoy? So, there's some talk that used to be thinking that Jakes could breed. Now there's some talk that maybe they can't. So one of the other parts of this deal at Auburn, they're going to take turkeys, and people are going to, as they harvest turkeys, bring them in, and they're going to just check the sperm count viability. So that's going to be interesting to see what we learn from that. And again, it goes back to not just asking questions, asking the right questions. And, all these projects is not just us, it's in cooperation with Alabama National Wild Turkey Federation, Alabama Wildlife Federation. There's a lot of people that are helping get this done. So in time, at the end of this project, we'll be able to have some potential answers that maybe different state agencies can introduce as policy or not. Maybe we'll realize what's going on. So it's going to be really fun to find out what we can learn.
Are you guys also working towards habitat improvement as well, or are you just strictly doing studies at the moment?
It sounds right like now, more or less trying to find the answer to what to work on.
Right.
Yes, exactly. Right, and we're trying to learn. I'm sorry, say that again.
I didn't want to step over you there, but it sounded like you guys are more looking for where to start, not just do something now.
That's correct. As of right now, we're still a fledgling organization. You're just happy to be able to do what we're doing. That being said, research seems to be kind of our niche at the present time, but that's not to say that we won't ever get into habitat. There's some other projects we're wanting to look at, putting transmitters on some hens and see on a place that's very well managed, and see what type of habitat improvements make the most sense, or you get the most use of for brood rearing or nesting. So that's something possibly down the road. The NWTF does a great job on habitat, and not that we're trying to take anything away from them. They're a partner. We're all trying to help the wild turkey. But right now, for us, research seems to be the way we're able to effectively make a difference, or effectively try to make a difference.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, if everybody's bringing a piece to the puzzle, then eventually you can solve it. But that's if I stay home and keep my piece, ain't nobody going to help anybody if I'm keeping my piece to myself.
That's right.
When we were, oh, go ahead.
It's kind of like the old adage. what's that saying? The definition of an idiot is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results.
Yeah,
insanity. That's it. Yeah. So, and I've been guilty of that too in the past. You know, we've all probably done that some, but for right now, research and working with either state agencies or universities, you know, in higher education and wildlife management seems to be the direction we're going.
Do you guys plan to jump into Florida and do some studying there, or is it just going to be like Alabama, Georgia, Arkansas?
No, sir. We want to eventually work everywhere we can. You know, we got started in Alabama because we had a relationship. One of our people had a relationship with Dr. Goolsby.
Okay.
Dr. Goolsby had some interest in research. Several of our guys are from Alabama, but no, it's not just the Southeast. You know, it's where we're started at, but I envision in time we'll be everywhere we can.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
So tell us a little bit about the membership program. Is it?
So it's pretty easy. I'm gonna click the join today button so I can explain this proper. But we got different levels. Of course, my internet's slow here. Just a general yearly membership. If it'll come up here, there it goes. Maybe just a general yearly membership is $50 per year. You're going to be able to get there we go. Membership includes a members only email, monthly email, different announcements, TFT newsletter, discounts in our store. We got kind of a store. We got some neat items at 30% one-time TFT store discount code, window decal, and then annual membership is $50. Annual team, which is kind of like a sponsor level, a little higher level. Of course, you get all the emails and whatnot. It's yearly. You get discounts. You get nicer gifts, just a little more part than a life member. We're still working on the life member, but I think people are going to be able to get a really nice custom print that we're working on getting painted now. It's $2,500, but it's a lifetime deal. And a lot of really cool swag to go with it. And then also for the youngsters under 16, it's $25 a year. And everybody gets the same TFT newsletter and, you know, monthly emails. There'll probably be some bumps in that road as we get to the point to where we can send that stuff out, you know, and get organized on that. But folks are coming on, and we ask anybody, if you're listening to this, if you're a turkey hunter, please come help us out. We need the help. Turkeys need help, and you'll get something for your back. You'll get some bang back for your buck.
Right. So, when do you think that you'll get the results from the studies that you've done this year?
Well, this first the first 3 studies that Dr. Goolsby's doing at Auburn, I think they're 2-year studies. So, there'll start to be some stuff this year, but it's a 3-year study. So, by the end of that 3 years, the master students will have putting some data together, and we'll start to be able to see trends, and we'll be able to learn a lot about where hens are nesting, how the poult rearing's going. We'll learn more about some of the sperm count research, which sounds pretty interesting. As weird as it sounds, I think it'll be interesting to learn if an adult dog is dominant or subdominant, what they can or cannot do. So in about 3 years, we ought to have some good information. But we'll start seeing trends, I promise you, after this year. And we'll probably be talking about that, you know, and there'll just be trends. And then at the end of the study, if those trends continue on, then you'll start seeing that pattern and be able to do something with it.
Awesome.
Yeah, you brought that up earlier about the turkey sperm count and the jakes. I never even thought about that because I've seen plenty of videos of jakes mounting decoys and trying to do their thing. Yes. So you just assumed, hey, if they're trying it, they can do it.
Me too. I had the same thought, and you know, to carry that further, I would think that just in time, evolutionary pressures wouldn't allow that to happen. That's a waste of energy, and it puts that young turkey in a potential dangerous situation, right? So, and we all know something's been trying to eat a turkey since it's been in the egg. So I question if that's right or not, but hence why we're doing the study to find out, you know. let's see if they can or they can't. The other thing is I always thought, as I said earlier, if we yep up 3 longbeards, and you can always pick a dominant bird from the subdominants mostly, even if they're all 3 strutting, the dominant bird would typically be more white than red. So you think if you shoot the dominant bird, one of those others takes over, immediately breeding the hound. But evidently there's some talk that that can't happen right away. So I don't know. We want to learn. I want to hear the answers to that, because I struggle with it, so hence why we need to hence why the importance of, if we're getting into hunting regulations, why they need to be science-based. We need to not just on emotion make regulations. So
pick a date.
You have the science
we always picked.
Right. Exactly. Let's put science behind it, and I think we'll be better off in the long run.
Now, say you're doing this study in Alabama and it ends in 3 years. Are you going to share that study with other states such as Arkansas, Tennessee, Georgia?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So the way most of that works is when a study like this is done, Dr. Goolsby and the grad students who work on it, they'll write a paper. That paper will be published through the wildlife management organizations and state agencies around the country and Wild Turkey Symposium. So everybody will be able to use that information to their benefit moving forward. And that's the beauty of research. And there's projects going on all over the place, and there's a lot of people want to do projects. They just don't have the funding. And that's where we try to come in to help out with that funding where we can. We don't have a lot of money, but we're growing and we're getting to where we can help do things. There's other stuff that comes up that we don't necessarily need to get into. But if it's, wild turkey research for the potential betterment of the population, is something we want to be a part of.
Right. So what states did you say you were going to next after Alabama's done?
Well, it just all depends on who has a project, right? It's not that we're necessarily going after any particular state. It's just what comes down the line. So it's not set in stone yet. We still got a lot to find out. But one of my friends over here in Arkansas, Dr. Doug Osborne from the University of Arkansas at Monticello, is working with some folks that have a big tract of ground, public ground, that they've been doing some turkey management on, and they want to do a research project to see if their habitat work is working this direction or that direction, what gets the most use by turkeys, and also some density studies so we can get a better idea of how to count turkeys. I know y'all said you weren't duck hunters, but in the waterfowl world, every year there's a breeding pair count and a May pond count done in the northern U.S. and Canadian prairies. Hadn't been able to do it the last 2 years because of COVID, but we had a good baseline from 1955 until 2019 of that breeding population of ducks. Whether you agree with the numbers or not, doesn't matter. It's still a baseline to go off of. With turkeys, we don't have that opportunity, So I know Dr. Chamberlain, Goolsby, Brett Collier, Doug Osborne, they're working trying to find a better way to get a turkey population number. So part of this next project, if we're able to do it, will be part of it. Have the opportunity to learn more about that. But again, that project's not inked yet. It's not a done deal. It's in the potential category and being discussed. But with that, we're open to any state, anybody that wants to come to us. Again, I want to reiterate that we're not necessarily going after individual states. We're going after projects. Does that make sense?
Yeah. The TWRA here in Tennessee is doing a big study, and out of Giles, Lincoln County, and a couple other counties, I think. So maybe they can.
I'm sorry, you broke up there.
I said the TWRA here in Tennessee is doing a big study in a few counties that are hurting pretty bad for birds. Maybe they can link up with you guys and do some work.
We are certainly open to that. And we the Seafood Southeastern Association of Fish and Wildlife Agencies are we try to work with them or get the word out that hey, we may or may not have some money, but if you got something, at least please give us a shout anyway.
Right. Oh, good. Well, how can people find Turkeys for Tomorrow?
Man, that's easy. turkeysfortomorrow.org. Spelled out. Google it, turkeysfortomorrow.org. We'll get you to the main page, and then you can learn all about us there. You can read all the stories about how we got started. It's the website looks very well. Check us out, man. We're happy to answer any questions. Get a hold of Chase Grubbs. You can find Jolly and my email on there, and happy to answer any questions we might need to.
I know that you guys just wrapped up a really big fundraiser where people can go turkey hunt with now I'm drawing a blank, but Dave Owens,
yes,
Mr. Culpepper,
Preston Pittman, and Philip Culpepper with Real Tree. So they all donated their time, and we had some folks with some hunts. So we did a big raffle that people could buy raffle tickets and draw a hunt with one of these guys, some of the top turkey hunters in the country. I think it was Tyler Jordan, Philip Culpepper, Dave Owens, and Preston Pittman. And we also just did a deal in Alabama, kind of a banquet type thing. We called a gun bash. Had a bunch of gun raffles and a dinner and folks speaking that did very well. And we got some more of those hopefully coming down the road, and more people around the country wanting to start a roost and be able to have an event. And those type of events help us, like everybody, help us raise funds to be able to do more projects, to be able to get in front of more people and to advocate for the wild turkey.
Now, a roost, are you considering a roost as like a chapter of Turkeys for Tomorrow?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Awesome.
Pretty intuitive. You figured that out pretty easily.
Right.
Yes.
That's awesome. How many roost
Culpepper up there at NWTF? He's a good guy.
How many roost chapters do you have right now?
Well, I think right now we just got one getting started, but there's several people asking what we're doing. So again, we'll back up. We're still learning. We're still learning about how to do things, how to go about doing stuff. So we're trying to develop a set of
Froze up.
It's calm.
Here in a second.
It's calm. What can go wrong will go wrong.
Well, the problem is we've had a few here recently, like the last 3 or so weeks, that have went just so smooth. It had to come back eventually.
Oh yeah, pretty day like today, nice and sunny, and you freeze up. So, but all this just makes me excited. It makes me want to go out and get a membership for TFT. I'm already a member of NWTF, so why not do both?
Right. Yeah. Seems.
I mean, NWTF is not necessarily towards studies of birds. It's more towards habitat and, so it'd be nice to do both. I'm glad to Alabama.
And we lost them.
Well,
all right.
That happened.
You want to just wrap it up here? And
yeah, let's go ahead and shout out to the sponsors real quick. Huge thank you to Cuz's Rookham Juice, Old Indian Tricks LLC, Camo Dust by Chris Parnell out of Arkansas, VIP Broadheads by Matt Feuder out of Texas, and Foxtrot Ammo. So thank you guys once again for being a sponsor of a show. Oh, there's Jim. Hey, welcome back, Jim.
Man, it just died. It kicked me completely out. I had to come back. So sorry about that.
It's fine. You gave us our commercial break, Jim. That's when you did a commercial.
Oh,
break.
Perfect. Yeah, perfect. What'd y'all say about comms there a minute ago?
I said
if it can go wrong, comms will.
It will. Yes, It just kicked me out. That's our squirrels ain't running fast enough in the internet cage over here.
Right. Well,
But yeah, anyway, you're talking about the roost there. We've got a committee that's kind of putting together all the rules and bylaws on how to go about that and how to make sure it works. You know, one of the things we did with Turkeys for Tomorrow in our original bylaws is 80 cents of every dollar spent goes to research and projects, and 20 cents goes back to admin. So that's kind of how we set it up. That runs a pretty narrow margin, you know, on operating, and we've learned, you know, you got to have people, you got to have, you know, computers and folks. So anyway, we're growing and we're getting there, and I feel that in the long run we're doing some good for the wild turkey, and that's what counts.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Hopefully we'll get some good studies back in the next 3 years, and maybe we can put boots on the ground and actually, you know, improve habitats and improve turkey populations, and people start hearing gobbles every weekend. So
you bet. You know, I don't know how long y'all have been hunting, but I was fortunate to grow up in a turkey hunting household, and I can remember populations through the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s that were, I mean, you go by a field in early February and be 120, 150 turkeys piled up, and go on a ridge and hear 20, 25 turkeys gobble in the morning. And you ain't hearing that nowadays. So, you know, something's happened. And, you know, a lot of it could just be bad weather. You know, we've had about 5 wet, cold springs in a row where we had big, heavy, cold rains about prime hatch time. And that's really hard on turkey populations. And maybe it's as simple as Mother Nature providing a couple dry springs and turns things right back around. And that's the beauty of turkeys is they can be pretty prolific given good habitat and good weather. So if we can help with that, that's a good thing. And the more we know how to help with that, the better off we are.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Mr. Jim, I've got to wrap up here. I appreciate you coming in on our podcast and talking to us about Turkeys for Tomorrow. And
hey, man, thank y'all for having me and giving us the opportunity.
Yeah. Well, maybe we can get you a couple members signed up and really help Turkeys for Tomorrow. I'm going to sign up. So thank you.
And we're going to try to get you back on right around duck season. That way you can tell us about duck hunting, since me and him are.
Yeah. I have no clue about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
I try to stay away from it.
I get that. That's probably smart.
I went one time, Jim, and it scared me enough. I don't want to go back again because of how comfortable and fun it was.
Right.
I wasn't wet. I was in a nice blind that had an oven, a stove, a fireplace pit.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I can't go back duck hunting because that would ruin me. Because I'm a deer hunter. I sit in cold deer stands all day. So that was, I can't.
Yeah, see. I hear you. Well, if you like calling turkeys in the spring, you'll like calling ducks in the fall and winter. And the beauty of duck hunting is when ducks are working and you're busy right there, you got to be quiet and hid and whatnot. But between bunches, you can be cutting up with your buddies and giving them a hard time.
Right. Well, all right, Mr. Jim, well, you take care, and thank you again for coming on to Outdoors with MSA.
Man, thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it. Have a good day.
Have a good one. All right, guys, that'll wrap up episode 36 of Outdoors with MSA. Until next time, be easy.